tests. So we will be discussing the lecture upon lung function test. आप लोग टाइम की पाबंदी करें, काफी लोग लेट आ रहे हैं, अभी तक आ रहे हैं, तो लेक्चर टाइम पे शुरू नहीं हो पा रहा क्योंकि लोग आते जा रहे हैं दो दो करके आ रहे हैं, दो दो करके आ रहे हैं। ये तो कोई तरीका नहीं है। अदरवाइज या तो आदमी मीटिंग लॉक कर दे, या तो ये यही काम है कि बंदा सिर्फ लोगों को एडमिट करता रहे. So बहरहाल टुडे वी आर डिस्कसिंग a new lecture, that is lung function tests. Okay. Can you hear me properly? All of you, can you hear me properly? I hope it's audible because मैंने अभी थोड़ी देर पहले क्लास ली टीपीटी की. Okay बेटा, thank you. So बेटा, before discussing the lecture, we must know that what are objectives of today's lecture. So you must be able to understand each and every objective at the end of the lecture, right? So the first objective is you must be able to define different lung volumes and capacities along with their normal values and significance. You must be able to define different lung volumes and capacities along with their values and significance. This is number one objective. Okay, bacha. The second thing is you should be able to define and calculate minute or pulmonary ventilation and alveolar ventilation. So basically, these are the two main objectives of today's lecture. That one, you should be able to understand, define lung volumes and capacities along with their normal values and significance. Two, you must be able to define and calculate pulmonary ventilation and alveolar ventilation. Now, what do you mean by lung function test, beta? You should know that what is actually the term is lung function test. Lung function test basically measures how well your lungs are functioning. Actually, they measure how much air you can take into your lungs, how much air your lungs can be able to exhale, how well your lungs deliver oxygen to your blood, and last but not the least, what is the strength of your breathing muscles. The lung function test basically determines all these four parameters. कितने अच्छे तरीके से आप एयर ले रहे हैं इनसाइड, कितने अच्छे तरीके से आप एक्सपायरेशन कर रहे हैं, कितने अच्छे तरीके से ऑक्सीजन डिलीवर हो रही है टू द टिश्यूज, और व्हाट इज द स्ट्रेंथ ऑफ योर रेस्पिरेटरी मसल्स, राइट? Okay, then lung function test basically it includes different tests. There are basically four tests which actually indicates or determine the functions of the lung ability to expire or inspire. Number one is direct respirometry. Number two is indirect respirometry, which usually comprises of helium and nitrogen dilution method. Third test is lung function, lung diffusion capacity, and fourth is ABGs, arterial blood gases, right? You must be knowing something about direct respirometry. It is an instrument in the laboratory where we uses different types of the volumes and capacities. Basically, direct respirometer, इसको direct क्यों कहते हैं? इसलिए इसमें directly respirometer use होता है बेटा. This can measures how much air you can breathe in and out, and it also measures how fast you can take air in and out. Now, this instrument used is spirometry, right? Spirometry एक प्रोसेस है जिससे हम लंग वॉल्यूम्स एंड कैपेसिटीज डिफरेंट किस्म की मेजर करते हैं बच्चा. अभी तक लोग आ रहे हैं बेटा, अभी अजीब तरीका है. बहरहाल, so direct spirometry it measures PV, tidal volume. It measures inspiratory reserve volume. It measures expiratory reserve volume. It measures FEV1. It measures FVC. It measures VC. It measures IC. It also measures EC. Now, what are these all volumes and capacities that we have discussed in the objective, that you should be able to define all the lung volumes and capacities with their normal values as well as with their significance, right? So हम देखेंगे कि ये है क्या, टीवी, आईआरवी, ईआरवी, सारी चीजें. Another is indirect spirometer test. अब indirect spirometer में क्या होता है बेटा? Actually, patient breathe in and out of a spirometer filled with 10% of the helium and 90% of the oxygen till the concentration in the spirometer and lungs become equal. As no helium loss, as it is insoluble in blood, FRC case volume is measured then. It tests RV, FRC, and TLC. ये बात आपको पता होनी चाहिए कि डायरेक्ट स्पायरोमेट्री से क्या क्या चीजें यूज होती हैं, कौन कौन से लंग वॉल्यूम्स वो टेस्ट करता है, मेजर करता है, और इनडायरेक्ट स्पायरोमीटर कौन कौन से वॉल्यूम्स और कैपेसिटीज वो मेजर करता है. ठीक है बच्चों. द थर्ड थिंग इज लंग डिफ्यूजन कैपेसिटी. ये तीसरा लंग फंक्शन टेस्ट है जिससे हम डिटरमाइन करते हैं कि लंग कितना अच्छा काम कर रहा है. दैट इज लंग डिफ्यूजन कैपेसिटी. This measures how well your oxygen passes from your lungs into your bloodstream. नाम से जाहिर है ना, lung diffusion capacity. This actually measures how well your oxygen passes from your lungs into your bloodstream. And last but not the least, it is ABGs, arterial blood gases. इसमें क्या होता है? We take the sample from the arteries. Usually, we use femoral artery and radial artery. And there's a difference between the venous sample and arterial sample. तो arterial sample होता है due to pressure. It has got more pressure. जैसे आप सिरिंज डालेंगे, नीडल डालेंगे, तो बहुत ज्यादा फोर्स से, प्रेशर से ब्लड खुद ही अंदर चला जाएगा. जबकि वेन के अंदर प्रेशर कम होता है, तो वेन में ब्लड जब डालते हैं सिरिंज, उस समय सक करना पड़ता है ब्लड में. एपीजीज हमें सिग्निफिकेंस क्या है एपीजीज की? इट एक्चुअली टेल्स अस अबाउट द these parameters: O2, CO2, bicarbonate, pH, and O2 saturation in the arterial sample. It actually helps in the diagnosis of the acid-base disorder. You must be knowing that when there's decreased CO2 in the blood, we call this as the respiratory alkalosis. And when there's more CO2 in blood, and this is volatile acid, so we call this as a respiratory acidosis. You're also knowing that bicarb अगर body में कम हो जाए, we call this as a metabolic acidosis. If bicarb is more in blood, we call this as the metabolic alkalosis. But this all information is being given or is being taken from ABGs. So you must be knowing that actually what is the function of arterial blood gases, right? This we are discussing lung function test. Basically, there are 4 lung function tests. अभी हमने discuss किया बच्चा. One is spirometer, direct and indirect. Another is lung diffusion capacity. And fourth thing is arterial blood gases, right? Now come to the actual objective that you should be able to define different lung volumes and capacities. You must be able to give their values and their significance. What are actually the lung volumes and capacities? Lung volumes and capacities refer to the volume of air which are associated with the different phases of respiratory cycle. Lung volumes are directly measured from the spirometer, definitely, and the lung capacities are inferred or derived from lung volumes. The instrument used is the spirometer. Though some are being tested through the direct spirometry, other are tested through the indirect spirometry. Right? There are 4 lung volumes. Again, if we recall the objective, the first objective was you must be able to define different lung volumes and capacities. मेरी वॉल्यूम क्लियर है बेटा, आपके यहाँ कोई इशू होगा? वॉल्यूम इज क्लियर. I am audible to most of the class. Okay, beta? So basically, there are 4 lung volumes. Number one is tidal volume, that is TV. अब ध्यान रखना objective पे. You must be able to define all lung volumes and capacities with their normal values, with their significance. So PV is tidal volume. Another is inspiratory reserve volume. Third is expiratory reserve volume. Fourth is residual volume. अब इन नाम के अंदर ही डेफिनेशन छुपी हुई है बच्चों. PV tidal volume. Tidal volume मतलब क्या है? It's the normal air which we take in and out in each normal breath. Again, I'm repeating. What is tidal volume? normal volume of air which we take in and out in each normal breath. Normally it is 0.5 liter, or normally it is 500 ml. This is your tidal volume. तो हर वक्त हम ले रहे होते हैं, ठीक है बच्चा? Another thing is inspiratory reserve volume. नाम पे गौर करें बच्चा. Inspiratory reserve volume means reserve volume है ना, तो it is an extra volume of air which we inspire with force over and beyond tidal volume. अगर हम जोर से एयर को इंस्पायर करें over and beyond tidal volume, we call this as a inspiratory reserve volume. नाम से जाहिर है बच्चा, क्या कह रहा है ये? Inspiratory reserve volume, extra volume of air inspired with force over and beyond tidal volume. The value is 3000 ml. Okay, beta, we were discussing inspiratory reserve volume, beta. We have said that it is an extra volume of air. It is an extra volume of air which we inspire with force over and beyond tidal volume, and its value is 3000 ml. Okay, bacha. Fourth is third volume is beta expiratory reserve volume. ये expiratory reserve volume का उल्टा है. कितना जोर से आप एयर बाहर निकाल सकते हैं. Expiratory reserve volume. So it is an extra volume of air which we expire with force over and beyond tidal volume. Inspiratory reserve volume क्या था बच्चा? It is an extra volume of air which we inspire with force over and beyond tidal volume, whereas the expiratory reserve volume, it is an extra volume of air which we expire with force over and beyond tidal volume. अच्छा, extra volume वो रिजर्व आ गया, expire reserve volume over and beyond tidal volume. ठीक है बच्चा? And the value is 1100 ml, right? The fourth volume is residual volume. नाम से जाहिर है, residual volume, it means the volume of air remaining in the lungs after forceful expiration. Forceful expiration के बाद हर वक्त जो एयर रहती है उसको हम residual volume कहते हैं, and it is 1200 ml. This is the only lung volume which cannot be measured by the spirometry. I mean, which cannot be measured by direct spirometry. It is measured by indirect spirometry. That is helium dilution method. याद रखना, जहाँ जहाँ रेजिडुअल वॉल्यूम आएगा ना, वो कैपेसिटी हो या वो वॉल्यूम हो, इट विल बी मेजर्ड थ्रू इनडायरेक्ट स्पायरोमेट्री, कैनॉट बी मेजर्ड थ्रू डायरेक्ट स्पायरोमेट्री. तो शुरू में हमने बात की थी कि भाई इनडायरेक्ट स्पायरोमेट्री से क्या क्या चीजें मेजर होंगी, तो हमने कहा था आरवी होगा, एफआरसी होगा, टोटल लंग कैपेसिटी होगी बच्चा. ठीक है? रेजिडुअल वॉल्यूम मींस रेजिडुअल एयर रह जाए आफ्टर फोर्सफुल एक्सपायरेशन. It is 1200 ml and is the only lung volume which cannot be measured through which can be measured through indirect spirometer. Rest all volumes they are measured through direct spirometry, right? This is normal diagram. It is showing different types of what? It is showing different types of okay, but you can see that this is tidal volume. This is your tidal volume, and this is your expiratory reserve volume. But this is your tidal volume. This is 500 ml. Okay, this is your what? This is the extra volume of air which we inspire with force over and beyond tidal volume. Tidal volume के बाद जितना हम इंस्पायर कर रहे हैं जोर से, that is IRV. आप देख सकते हैं ये 3000 है. So you add this is 3000. And what is ERV? It is the extra volume of air which will expire with force over and beyond tidal volume. This is beyond tidal volume. And this is how much? This is 1100 ml. If you can see that 11 plus 1200 ml, it will become okay, bacha. So this is expiratory reserve volume. अच्छा एक्सपर्ट रिजर्व वॉल्यूम के बाद भी जो ए रह जाती है बच्चा this we called as a residual volume. Residual volume. And what is your residual volume? Is the volume of air remaining in the lungs after forceful expiration. हमने मैक्सिमम एक्सपायरेशन की थी ना, उसके बाद भी जो एयर रह जाए उसको हम रेजिडुअल वॉल्यूम कहते हैं. which is significance क्या है? It keep the lungs open. It keeps the lung always inflated. It prevents from collapse of the lung, right? Now we are done with the volumes. Now let's discuss about the lung capacities. Now lung capacity are nothing but the sum of the two or more than two lung volumes. We have said at the start that the lung capacities, they are derived from lung volumes. So basically there are 5 capacities. There are 4 volumes and there are 5 capacities. Number 1 is inspiratory capacity. Number 2 is expiratory capacity. Number 3 is functional residual capacity. Number 4 is vital capacity. And last but not the least is TLC. That is total lung capacity. Now these are the sum of the volumes, more than 2. Inspiratory capacity, it is combination of this is your first capacity, that is your inspiratory capacity. Bacha. Now inspiratory capacity is combination of 2 volumes. It is combination of 2 volumes. That is TV and IRV. Inspiratory है ना, तो TV plus IRV, the sum of the TV and IRV is known as inspiratory capacity. And what about expiratory capacity? It is sum of TV and ERV. TV and ERV. Basically, what is inspiratory capacity? Sum of TV and IRV को भी चल जाएगा. TV कितना है 500 ml and IRV कितना है 3000 मिला के 3500. So inspiratory capacity will be 3500 ml. ये आपको ज़बानी याद हो या आप कैलकुलेट कर सकें. अगर हम डेफिनेशन पे आए तो इंस्पायर्ड कैपेसिटी में हम ये भी कह सकते हैं इट इज सम ऑफ पीवी एंड आईओवी, और हम ये भी कह सकते हैं मैक्सिमम वॉल्यूम ऑफ एयर दैट कैन बी इंस्पायर्ड आफ्टर नॉर्मल tidal expiration. The maximum volume, deepest possible volume of air that can be inspired after normal tidal expiration, right? This is your expiratory capacity, beta. This is expiratory capacity. This is sum of PV and ERV because it is expiratory. PV and ERV. तो अगर हम ये बात करें कि भाई expiratory capacity is measured by the direct spirometry because there is no residual volume. Same is case with the expiratory capacity. As there is no residual volume, so again this expiratory capacity is also measured through direct spirometry. What will be the expiratory capacity? It will be TV plus ERV. TV is, we know that it is 500, ERV is 1100, and that will become 1600 ml. And it is maximum expiration after normal tidal inspiration. Okay, bacha? Okay, but now, the third capacity is functional residual capacity. Again, the word residual is there. So what is functional residual capacity? It is sum of ERV and RV. It is sum of ERV and RV. Again, ERV, we know that it is 1100. RV is 1200 ml. So together it becomes 2300 ml. 2300 ml. And it is the volume of air remaining in the lungs after normal expiration. As you know that the volume of air remaining in the lungs after forceful expiration was residual volume. The volume of air remaining in the lungs after normal expiration, it is known as FRC. So you must be able to differentiate between RV and FRC. And now, as there is RV in this FRC, So this cannot be measured through direct spirometry. Instead, it is measured through helium or nitrogen dilution method. So up till now, RV and FRC is measured through indirect spirometry, whereas remaining inspiratory capacity, expiratory capacity, ERV, IRV, PV, all these are being measured through direct spirometry because they do not have residual value. ठीक? Now you must be able to know the significance of FRC. Beta. What is the function of significance of FRC? It always keeps the lungs partially inflated. It prevents from lung collapse. It continues the exchange of the gases at the air rate. It causes dilution of the toxic inhaled gases. Last but not the least, it decreases the workload on respiratory muscles and right ventricle. ये वो एयर है जिसके लिए लंग को जोर नहीं लगाना पड़ता. This is always present in the lungs after normal expiration. This is in a way decreases the workload on the respiratory muscles and right ventricle. They help in the dilution of the toxic gases. It also ensures the exchange of gases, also prevent from lung collapse. It also keep the lungs partially inflated, right? Now the fourth capacity is vital capacity. Now vital capacity is somehow first three volumes, that is TV, IRV, and ERV. You can say that TLC minus RV, it is vital capacity, and the sum of TV, IRV, and ERV, it is 4600 ml. Again, there is no RV, so that means that vital capacity can be measured through direct spirometry. It is maximum amount of air expelled after deepest possible expiration. Maximum expiration followed by deepest possible inspiration. The significance is this actually assists the function of respiratory muscles. आप जोर से air expel की after deepest possible inspiration. Actually test the quality of respiratory muscles. Right? Last but not the least, it is total lung capacity, PLC. It comprises all the lung volumes. That is 500, 3000, 1100, and 1200. Together, the total lung capacity is 5800 ml. And this is nothing but the total amount of an air which a lung can hold. Total amount of air. And it is again measured by helium dilution method. It is again measured by indirect spirometry because that there is RV in this capacity. There is RV. This is measured through helium dilution method or indirect spirometry. Then you must be able to know that what are lung ventilation measurements. That is, you must be able to differentiate between FEV1 and FVC, forced expiratory volume 1 and forced vital capacity. What is FEV1? You must be able to define the FEV1. The volume of air expired in first second of forced vital capacity. The definition is very aheम है बच्चा. You must be able to define all volumes and capacities. This FEV1, FEV1 is volume of air expired in first second of FVC. Normally the FEV1 is 80%. Okay, बच्चा, it is the index of air flow through the respiratory air passages, and the FEV1 is always 4 liters. What is FEV1? Volume expiration in first second of FVC. We call this as the FEV1 or forced expiratory volume 1. It is always 4 liters. Right? And then what is force? Bacha, what is force? Force vital capacity, bacha. It is inhale and exhale maximally, forcefully and quickly. What is forced vital capacity? Maximum inhalation, maximum exhalation, very forcefully, very quickly. We call this as a forced vital capacity, and it's always 5 liters. But I will take questions at the end, beta. Let me finish this all. and then I will take the answers at the end. Definitely, there will be different in the volumes and capacity in male and female. As the muscles of the male, they are more stronger. Certainly, they have more volumes and capacity, relatively. But what I am discussing, these are the average volumes and capacity. Certainly, if the women have got 450 ml tidal volume, there's no problem. This is absolutely normal. But in all the books, international books of physiology, it is it, there is consensus that the average tidal volume in all gender is actually 500 ml average, and the average IRV, TRV, and all volumes, all capacities, it is same what I have told you at the previous slides. बताइए 115 जो भी है वो मैं उसको बता रहा हूँ. Again, but this is the diagram which is actually showing all volumes and capacities. Okay. अभी तक लोग आ रहे हैं. Okay, but now you will see that this is the ये इम्तिहान में आएगा उसमें हमेशा आता है. This graph actually showing all volumes and capacity. We have said that this is normal tidal volume. Yes, absolutely. We know that this is inspired reserve volume, extra volume aware which means inspired force over and beyond tidal volume. This is your ERV, extra volume aware which means expired force over and beyond tidal volume. This was your residual volume, right? We have said that in total lung capacity, it was a combination of all lung volume. So यहाँ से लेके यहाँ तक, this all is total lung capacity. And we have said that first three volumes were comprising the vital capacity. So up to here, from here to this, there is vital capacity because this comprises tidal volume, this is IRV, this is ERV. इम्तिहान में आपको पूछेंगे कि ये क्या है, T क्या है, T. You will have to say that T is vital capacity. ये क्या है, यहाँ से लेके यहाँ तक क्या है, total lung capacity. What is inspired capacity? हमने कहा था TV plus IRV. This is your inspired capacity. हमने कहा था what is FRC? RV and ERV. This is your FRC. We have said that what is this is your expired reserve volume. और हमने ये इंस्पायर्ड कैपेसिटी नहीं बता. तो एक कैपेसिटी थी एक्सपायर्ड कैपेसिटी, इसमें टीवी और बच्चा ईआरवी था. This is the diagram, but you must be able to label this all. Okay, very simple. अगर आपको डेफिनेशन आ गई, you can be able to label all this diagram, right? Then you must be able to know that there are certain diseases which are, which is very important. Those diseases are known as restrictive lung diseases, and another are obstructive lung diseases. Restrictive lung disease means the lungs are stiff. There's a restriction of the air to come inside. There's a problem. There's a restriction in the inspiration. There's decreased expansion of the lung parenchyma. And when there's when there's a sedation or restriction of inspiration, so there will be decrease in VC, PLC, RV, FRC, and FEV1. इम्तिहान में आता है सिनेरियो आएगा ना कि एक बंदा है उसको ये डिजीजेज हैं, तो बताओ इसके अंदर कौन सी चीज कम होगी या बढ़ी हुई होगी. You must be able to know which parameters are decreased or increased in this restrictive lung diseases. But FEV1 and FVC ratio, it is normal or high. ये कैसे बेटा आगे हम डिस्कस करेंगे. Now restrictive lung diseases, there's a problem of the inspiration, right? Now these restrictive lung diseases, they include fibrosis, they include sarcoidosis, they include muscular diseases, and there's also some chest wall deformities. This all comes under the headings of restrictive lung diseases. इसमें सब कम होता है सिवाय FEV1 and FVC रेशियो. ये नॉर्मल होगा या ये हाई होगा, कैसे हम आगे डिस्कस करेंगे बच्चा. दूसरी रेस्पिरेटरी डिजीज होती है ऑब्स्ट्रक्टिव लंग डिजीजेस, सॉफ्ट लंग. There's a problem in the expiration. It makes it more difficult to get air out of the lungs. So in restrictive lung diseases, there's a problem of inspiration. In obstructive lung diseases, there's a problem of the expiration. Enough air come inside, but then air failed to go outside. There's the problem of the expiration. Hence, there's a normal or decreased FVC, decrease in FEV1 FVC ratio, decrease in FEV1 itself, but there's increase in TLC, RV, and FRC. Can anyone from you tell me why there's increase in TLC, RV, and FRC? बेटा जिसको आंसर आता है वो चैट में मुझे बताए जरा, क्योंकि साउंड में थोड़ा मसला है बेटा। मेरे साउंड में एयर पीस में मसला है, आवाज जा रही है, लेकिन आप मुझे चैट में बताएं कि व्हाई देयर इज इंक्रीज इन टीएलसी, व्हाई देयर इज इंक्रीज इन आरवी, व्हाई देयर इज इंक्रीज इन एफआरसी, कोई बताएगा? इट्स वेरी गुड, बिकॉज एयर इज नॉट गोइंग आउटसाइड। एक्सीलेंट सना। द थिंग इज, what is residual volume? Air remaining in the lungs after forceful expiration. एयर अंदर आने का तो कोई मसला ही नहीं है ना, एयर जाती नहीं है, अंदर तो बहुत एयर होती है, तो जहां जहां भी रेजिडुअल वॉल्यूम होगा ना, जहां जहां भी वो पैरामीटर्स बढ़ जाएंगे, इसलिए आरवी भी बढ़ जाएगा, इसीलिए एफआरसी भी बढ़ जाएगा, इसीलिए टीएलसी भी बढ़ जाएगा, क्योंकि एक्सपायरेशन का मसला है। रिस्ट्रिक्टेड लंग डिजीजेज में एयर आ नहीं रही थी, जब आ नहीं रही थी तो कहाँ से आईआरवी ज्यादा हो, ईआरवी भी कम था, टीवी भी कम था, वाइटल कैपेसिटी भी कम थी, हर चीज कम थी, लेकिन एफईवी1 एफईवीसी रेशियो ज्यादा था, या नॉर्मल होगा, वो हम आगे डिस्कस करेंगे बच्चा। एक्सीलेंट सना, आपने सही बताया। हाँ यही बात है, सनी सही कह रहे हो, जहाँ भी आरवी आएगा वो चीज बढ़ जाएगी। आरवी क्या है? रेसिडुअल, बची कुची हवा, बच्चा ठीक है, तो जो रेसिडुअल वॉल्यूम का तो कोई इशू ही नहीं है, सडनली देयर इज प्रॉब्लम इन द एक्सपायरेशन, राइट? तो एक्सीलेंट, इससे बताया बच्चा। So obstructive lung diseases, they are nothing, they are soft lung. They include, नाम भी आने चाहिए डिजीज के, ठीक है? So obstructive lung diseases, they include emphysema, chronic bronchitis, and asthma, right? बेटा अब सवाल पैदा होता है, हमने शुरू में कहा था कि जो FEV1 है वो 4 लीटर है, दिस इज 4 लीटर, वी हैव सेड दैट FVC इज 5 लीटर, हमने शुरू में डिस्कस किया था बच्चा। तो नॉर्मली इट इज 80%, FEV1 इज 80%, 0.8%। अब ऑब्स्ट्रक्टिव लंग डिजीज होती है बच्चा, ऑब्स्ट्रक्टिव लंग डिजीज में क्या मसला है? FEV1 बहुत कम है, FEV1 मतलब एक्सपायरेशन इन फर्स्ट सेकंड, डायरेक्ट एक्सपायरेशन का तो इशू है ऑब्स्ट्रक्टिव लंग डिजीज में, तो FEV1 मैसिवली कम होता है, लेकिन FVC पोस्ट वाइटल कैपेसिटी थोड़ा कम होता है, इतना इशू नहीं होता, क्योंकि एक्सपायरेशन का तो मसला ही नहीं है। तो अगर आप बेटा 4 लीटर जो है, जो FEV1 है उसको बहुत ज्यादा कम करेंगे, और जो है FVC को थोड़ा कम करेंगे, तो थोड़ा मसला होगा, डिक्रीज होगी बच्चा, देखिए ना, 0.6 0.8 से कम हुआ है, 60% हुआ है। अब हम रेस्पिरेटरी लंग डिजीज में आ जाते हैं, उसमें इंस्पायरेशन का मसला है, एक्सपायरेशन का कोई इशू नहीं है, तो फिर क्या होगा बेटा? अगर एक्सपायरेशन का मसला नहीं है तो FEV1 थोड़ा कम होगा, थोड़ा, मतलब 4 लीटर है तो 3.5 हो गया। FVC बहुत कम होगा बच्चा, FVC अगर आप करेंगे ना 3.5 और 4 कम करेंगे, ये 4 क्या, भले आप 3 कर लें, बहुत कम कर लें, रेशो ज्यादा आएगा, ज्यादा ज्यादा देख लें। इसीलिए ये बड़ी डायग्नोस्टिक बात है, क्लिनिकली भी इम्तिहान में हमेशा पूछते हैं, बड़े बड़े इम्तिहानों में, कि भाई क्यों FEV1 FVC रेशो नॉर्मल या ज्यादा होता है? इसीलिए कि भाई FVC बहुत कम हो जाती है, FEV1 कम कम होता है। जब आप रेशो निकालेंगे तो रिस्ट्रिक्टेड लंग डिजीज में रेशो ज्यादा आएगा, और ऑब्स्ट्रक्टिव लंग डिजीज में रेशो कम आएगा। द थिंग इज, डेफिनेशन का मसला है FEV1। आई होप दिस इज क्लियर। इज इट क्लियर? ये बात समझ में नहीं आई मोहम्मद? बात ये हमने कहा ना, ऑब्स्ट्रक्टिव लंग डिजीज में क्या होता है? अब ऑब्स्ट्रक्टिव लंग डिजीज में मसला क्या होता है? FEV1 का मसला होता है ना, एक्सपायरेशन का मसला होता है। और FEV1 क्या है? एयर कमिंग आउट ऑफ द लंग इन फर्स्ट सेकंड। भाई जब एक्सपायरेशन का मसला है तो एयर तो बाहर नहीं जाएगी ना, एयर बाहर जाएगी नहीं, बहुत कम एयर बाहर जाएगी, तो इसका मतलब है जो 4 लीटर थी उससे बहुत कम हो जाएगा, आप उसको 2.4 कर दें, 2 कर दें, लेकिन FVC का कोई इशू नहीं है ना, बहुत कम इशू है, पोस्ट वाटर कैपेसिटी, एयर अंदर तो आ रही है ना, तो IRV ERV टीवी का तो कोई मसला ही नहीं है, वाटर कैपेसिटी का कोई इशू नहीं है, तो वो थोड़ी कम हुई है 4, तो आपने रेशो देखा, रेशो थोड़ा कम है। हाँ, रेस्टोरेंट लंग डिजीज में क्या मसला है? इंस्पायरेशन का मसला है, राइट? एक्सपायरेशन का इतना खास मसला नहीं है। तो अगर हमने जो बेटा FEV1 हमने थोड़ा कम किया है 3.5, और FVC बच्चा जो है वो बहुत ज्यादा कम हुआ है, 5 से 4 हो गया, या लेट सपोज आप इसको 3 कर दें, इसको 3.5 करें, जो रिजल्ट आएगी ना वो ज्यादा आएगी। इसका मतलब है FEV1 FVC रेशो नॉर्मल या ज्यादा होगा रेस्ट्रिक्टिव लंग डिजीज में, कम होगा ऑब्स्ट्रक्टिव लंग डिजीज में बच्चा। तो आखिर में देखते हैं बच्चा, लेक्चर पूरा कर लें फिर आगे क्लियर करते हैं। आई होप ये क्लियर हो जाना चाहिए बाय नाउ। ओके बेटा, सो वी डिस्कशन दिस, ओके राइट? आई होप दिस इज क्लियर। ऑब्स्ट्रक्टिव लंग डिजीज एक्सपायरेशन का मसला है, FEV1 बहुत कम आएगा, तो बहुत कम करके देख लो, बहुत कम मतलब 4 लीटर से 2 कर लो, 1.5 कर लो। और FVC का इतना मसला नहीं है, थोड़ा कम करो, रेशियो हमेशा कम आएगा। रेस्ट्रिक्टिव लंग डिजीज में इंस्पायरेशन का मसला है, एक्सपायरेशन बिल्कुल सही है, तो आप एक्सपायरेशन थोड़ी कम करें, ये बहुत ज्यादा कम करें, 4 है 3 करें 2.5 करें, आप रेशियो देखेंगे ज्यादा आएगा। तो अब तक ये बात क्लियर हो जानी चाहिए कि FV1 FVC रेशियो रिमेन नॉर्मल और हाई इन रेस्ट्रिक्टिव लंग डिजीजेस, whereas this ratio remain decrease in case of obstructive lung diseases. Now you can see this beta, this is obstructive lung diseases, vital capacity is less, IRV ERV is less, because there's a problem in the expiration, no issue in the expiration, so RV is more, TLC is more, FRC is more, right? Now, again this is indicating that these are निशान है, ये वॉल्यूम्स है, ये कैपेसिटीज हैं, ठीक है बच्चा? This is the classical diagram which always come in the exam. Label this, label this. ये लेबल करो, आपको कोई बोले व्हाट इज ए टाइटल वॉल्यूम, आपको कोई बोले, कोई बच्चा बोले व्हाट इज दिस, आप बोलेंगे IRV, व्हाट इज दिस ERV, व्हाट इज दिस RV, व्हाट इज दिस होल इज TLC, व्हाट इज IRV, व्हाट इज IRV and TV, इसी तरह बचा ERV प्लस RV FRC, whole is TLC, first 3 lung volumes ERV, IRV, PV, ERV, from this to up to this, it is all VC, right? Again, you must be able to label these diagrams, right? Again, you must be able to. Okay, but now this is summary, bacha. In respiratory disease, in obstructive lung diseases, FEV1 is less, FEV1 FVC ratio is decreased. In restrictive lung diseases, FEV1 alone is decreased. FEVC is also somewhat decreased, more decreased. FEV1 is less decreased. Okay, bacha. So what will be the ratio? Ratio will be normal or increased. मैं आपको बता चुका हूँ सारा। And the last objective, वो हमेशा ऑप्शन में आता है, calculate pulmonary ventilation and alveolar ventilation. So you must be able to know what is the formula to calculate pulmonary ventilation and alveolar ventilation. To calculate pulmonary or minute ventilation, the formula is TV into RR. You know that TV is 500 ml. You know that respiratory rate is 12. So it is normal becomes 6000 ml. अगर इम्तिहान में मैं रेस्पिरेटरी रेट 10 दे दूं, टाइडल वॉल्यूम 400 दे दूं, तो उस तरह मल्टीप्लाई करना। You keep in mind the formula TV and RR. It will be pulmonary or minute ventilation. In volume of air, breathe in and out in each normal breath. Right, bachcha? or the part of air does not reach to the alveoli, but suddenly it fills the dead space, right? Now, what is alveolar ventilation? It is TB minus dead space into respiratory rate. You know that TB is 500 ml. You know that dead space is 150 ml. And you know that respiratory rate is 12. अगर मैं आपको डेड स्पेस आर आर टी बी दे दूं, जो भी वैल्यू दूं, इनका आपको कैलकुलेट करना है, वो जो जवाब आएगा बच्चा, that will be your alveolar ventilation. So keep in mind the formula of alveolar ventilation and keep in mind the formula of pulmonary ventilation. Then you must be able to calculate the, the, the minute ventilation and alveolar ventilation. The alveolar ventilation is defined as amount of air exchange between alveoli and atmosphere in 1 minute, or the amount of air that moved over the respiratory surfaces in 1 minute, right? So with normal quiet breathing, alveolar ventilation is less than that of the pulmonary ventilation, right? That's it. Okay, thank you very much. But if you have any question, you are free to ask. But we have discussed what we have discussed now. अगर हम objective recall करें, you should be able to define lung volumes and capacities with normal values and significance. You must be able to calculate minute ventilation and alveolar ventilation. And you must be able to what to differentiate between restrictive and obstructive lung diseases. You must be knowing that which diseases are restrictive lung diseases, which diseases are obstructive lung diseases, what happened to the volumes in restrictive lung diseases, what happened to the volumes to the obstructive lung diseases. That's it. If you have any question, you are free to ask. And बेटा जो सीआर है ना बच्चा, वो काइंडली अब जो है ना अटेंडेंस ले ले अभी 66 लोग हैं, ओके बेटा मैं एडमिट कर लूँ लोगों को. 68 लोग हैं गालिबन. इसकी अटेंडेंस जो भी सीआर है, आई डोंट नो हु इज सीआर, तो हमेशा जो अटेंडेंस लेता है बेटा काइंडली वो मुझे अभी के स्क्रीनशॉट मुझे ग्रुप में मुझे भेज दे बेटा, ताकि अटेंडेंस हो सके. बेटा एनी क्वेश्चन? डेथ स्पेस नहीं बेटा, डेथ स्पेस नहीं होता, डेड स्पेस होता है बेटा. डेड स्पेस नहीं होता बेटा. अमाउंट ऑफ एयर व्हिच नॉट टेकिंग पार्ट इन द गैस एक्सचेंज, but actually which is located within the respiratory passages. एक डेड स्पेस एयर होती है बच्चा, एक रेस्पिरेटरी जोन होता है, एक डेड स्पेस जोन होता है. ठीक है, आपको पता होगा रेस्पिरेटरी जोन जो है ना, वो बियॉन्ड टर्मिनल ब्रोंक्यूल्स जो एल्वुला होता है, वहां रेस्पिरेशन हो रही होती है. बियॉन्ड दैट टर्मिनल ब्रोंक्यूल्स देयर इज कंडक्टिंग जोन. What is dead space air? The amount of air which is actually not taking part in the gas exchange. This we call as the dead space. And it is said that an individual having dead space is equal to the weight of the individual in the pounds. If you are having the weight of 200 pounds, suddenly you will be having the dead space of 200 ml. If you have got the weight of 100 pounds, you will be having the dead space of 100 ml. So you must know dead space नहीं बता, it is dead space. I mean वो भेज दे बच्चा आप. Is it clear? ये जो भी था जमीर हुसैन बेटा, dead space is it is air which is not taking part in the gas exchange. There are respiratory zones, there are conducting zones, and beta the dead space of an individual is equal to the it is approximately equal to the weight of the individual in the pounds. But when if we are saying the average, it is always 150 ml. But whatever the weight of individual in the pounds, it is actually the dead space. No, it do not have the supposed value. It is not fixed. It vary with different individuals. But when we say average, when we are talking about average, that means it is always 150 ml. But it may be 149, it may be 145, it may be 160. It may vary, but books and scientists have agreed upon the fact that there is only 150 ml. It is the average dead space. Okay, but we are done with the dead space. Any question? But any other question? If there are no questions, so I may be allowed to leave. Any question, बच्चों? Any questions, बेटा? और मेहरबानी करके ये जो आप मीटिंगों में अपनी मर्जी से 1-1 घंटे तक आ रहे हैं, इसको खत्म करें। तो हमारा काम पढ़ाना है, हमारा काम तुम लोगों को एडमिट करते रहना है। कभी 2 आ रहे हैं, कभी 1 आ रहा है, कभी 3 आ रहे हैं। लेकिन आप काइंडली इसको सही करें। हाँ, मैंने उनको इन कर दिया है, सादिया मैंने कर दिया है इन। तो आप भले ले लें, भले आप दोबारा स्क्रीनशॉट ले लें, मुझे इशू नहीं है। लेकिन आप मैं वेट तो नहीं करूँगा ना, इतनी देर से क्यों उधर बैठे हुए। बहरहाल आप भले कर लें, मुझे इशू नहीं है। 69 बच्चे हैं, तो दोबारा आप कर लें बेटा। बेटा, इज इट क्लियर? All lung volumes and capacities, their normal value, their significance.